What's up everyone, welcome to my next YouTube video. Today we'll be looking at a very famous Nigerian movie called To Kill a Monkey. Before we react to that movie, between The Gangs of Lagos and To Kill a Monkey, which of the movie is your best? Tell me under the comment section. And if today is the first time you're coming across my video, don't forget to hit the notification button and subscribe.
I swear with my life, blood and flesh.
The story begins in a tense situation where we witnessed a strange man and some other young boys performing one of the most deadly rituals known to mankind. A boy named Joshua was made to swear to the gods, and so did the other boys. The man collected their blood in a calabash and gave it to another strange-looking creature. As he drank their blood, signifying and stating, he claimed to own them from there onwards. Scene shifted focus to a young man called Efe, who began to narrate his life experience and how he grew up from a very poor background, although his family did all they can to make sure he went through school. However, he hated his father for all Chet couldn't afford, although he came out as a first-class graduate while also studying computer programming. He also stated that now that he has his daughter, he now understands what his parents went through. He begged his boss for a loan so he can sort his family problems, but his boss refused to assist him, as Efe himself is still owing the restaurant 6 months' salary he took as a loan. He got a call from his mother-in-law informing him of his wife's crisis at the hospital due to the fact that she needs 200,000 naira for this operation. She is about to give birth and needs to do a CS immediately. We are meant to know that his wife is pregnant with triplets. Efe went back to his boss to beg for money but got mocked. While at it, the higher boss came in and asked Efe what the problem was. Efe explained the situation and asked for a loan. The lady was willing to help only if he gets romantically involved with her. Efe refused and went out to find the money, but all to no avail. He went back to his boss and she gave him the money. Efe quickly entered the tricycle. The men in it looked suspicious, but Efe entered hurriedly. As they were driving, he noticed the driver passed the wrong route. Before he could ask so much questions, one of the men brought out a knife and asked him for the envelope of money, else he'll get stabbed. Efe gave them the money and he was pushed out of the vehicle. So when he got to the hospital, the nurse asked him for money. Efe explained that he was robbed, but they paid no heed. He began to shout at them until a lady who seemed in charge came just in time. She took Efe to her office, and after he discussed everything, the lady offered to discuss with the hospital manager to allow him some time to gather the money and open a flexible payment plan. She begged him not to disappoint her. Afterwards, she also informed him of the death of one of the triplets who was underweighted and not fully formed. In total sadness, Efe cried.
I am so sorry.
After which he stated that he feels so relieved by this, before then asking for God's forgiveness.
When you said we lost one of the babies, I felt relief.
However, earlier before this happened, a woman named Mrs. Ogunlesi, who got a call at a birthday party relating to her husband and children, she ran to the hospital and was informed about the death of her husband. So quickly she went in to confirm before then crying for the death of her lost one. Meanwhile, Efe went on to see his wife and kids, while his mother-in-law mocked him of his wretchedness. Back at his work, Efe is seen gisting with his co-workers as he was working on his laptop. He got a text reminder of the hospital first payment, and before he could process it, his uncles came with a list of ridiculous items needed to bury his mother. Efe yelled at them, before then tell them to back off. Efe's wife also was laid off from work due to her being distracted at work. She begged her boss, but she insisted and told her to go home. Since bad things keep happening to this family, more like Netflix straw, Efe went back to the boss to complain about the salary deduction, even after she promised to clear the loan if he sleeps with her, which she did. She tried to lure him to come over at her place that night, but Efe refused. She got upset and sent him out. Meanwhile, the lady who lost her husband continues to have a serious breakdown over the loss of her husband. Back at the restaurant, a group of guys in the restaurant were causing some commotion. The group head requested that the new waitress attends to them. Efe offered to attend to them instead, since the girl wasn't comfortable with the men. Efe went ahead to attend to them. Apparently, one of the men named Obuzo recognized Efe. He saved him back in school.
Efina, you don't remember me? Bros, you don't remember me? This guy saved my life.
The boss came back, seeing Efe with the men, so in anger, she sacked him immediately and asked the new waitress to attend to them as she initially instructed. Obuzo was surprised at how Efe was begging the lady for the job. He told him to sit down and give him some money, before then also paying the lady all the money Efe is owing the restaurant, and asked the boss to serve him food.
My guests want shop.
Come on, let.
Efe and his wife came visiting Obuso, who also introduced his wife to them. The women left the men to discuss, and once they both left, the men had a long conversation where Efe explained his ordeal to Obuso. Efe stated that sometimes he do go out at night not to work night job, but just to make his wife think he has a night shift job. He also stated that he has so many ideas, however, funds is his only limit. Obuso promised to help, as he also understands all Efe is going through. He then asked Efe if he can do the kind job he does, and Efe vowed that he can.
God soap for me, brotherly. And they also strike me.
While on the other hand, the women also gisted and drank to their new friendship. Later on, Obuso took Efe to his company and showed him around on how things are done. He offered Efe the supervisor position and also explained how his business works. He stated all he needed from Efe was trust. However, his business looks very shady, but Efe was willing to take the risk. Afterwards, they both entered a secret place and wore a mask. Obuso showed Efe around, and this whole operation was beyond illegal. Obuso have a very big illegal empire organization beneath his legal business where he uses that to clean his dirty money. He confessed that he has hundreds of this all over Lagos. So after they all left the place, Efe rejected his offer, stated he couldn't gather the courage to do the kind of work Obuso does. Efe informed Obuso that he can create a software for them, but Obuso wasn't interested. He told Efe that just because he once saved his life, he will let him go freely even after sharing his secret with him, and he doesn't owe him anything again. Efe got home and lied to his wife about not getting the job. She was a bit upset. Things got a little heated, but they reconciled later on. Obuso's wife called Efe's wife, Nisa, later in the day. She forgot her baby stuff in the house. Idia offered to send her driver over to bring it to her. She begged her to tell Obuso to offer Efe another job. That was how she found out that it was Efe that actually rejected the supposed job. Efe went to a company he had been pitching his software to. After back and forth with the security man, he met with the boss who gave him an opportunity to pitch himself to the board. But unluckily for Efe, his laptop wasn't with him, and that was how he lost the chance. Efe went back to the restaurant. After sleeping with the boss as she wanted, he requested that she gives him the job back, but she refused. Efe got angry and left. As he went back home, seeing that the kids were crying because they hadn't eaten, as his wife wasn't able to breastfeed them again due to her age, and they had no money to buy baby formula, Efe was devastated. He went into the rain and cried. Afterward, he went back to Obuso and told him he was ready. Efe pitched his AI software idea to Obuso and explained how to help multiply the money he makes by creating an artificial intelligence software to make a deep fake of anybody they can imagine. Obuso bought into the idea. Meanwhile, Mrs. Motorayo started therapy. She still sees and hears voices of her dead children and husband. On the other hand, Efe and Obuso discussed over breakfast. Efe suggested they do a 50-50% cut since it was his idea. After back and forth, they finally agreed on 25 to 75% cut. Obuso asked Efe again if he could trust him. Efe said yes, and they shook hands to their new partnership. Efe went back home with a new car and also got a new apartment. His wife Nisa was shocked and suspicious, but Efe assured her it was all good.
What if it's something that could land you in jail? I promise you.
4 years later, Mrs. Ogulesi returned back to work. She's now fully recovered. Oguzo and Efe met each other as they celebrate the party together. They all looked so good. Idia came to greet Nosa, so just as they were gisting, Eve rushed out with fear. Nosa kept asking how it happened, but she couldn't utter any word.
What happened?
Meanwhile, Efe and Obuzo went on a boat. Suddenly, the other guy covered Efe's head with a nylon and was accusing Efe of stealing his money. Efe denied, stating that the final minute the bank had cancelled the transaction, and luckily, Obo believed. They got back. Nosa and Idia ran towards them to inform them that Susu, Efe's child, was missing. They searched everywhere and finally found Susu in the freezer unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, after a short while, she gained consciousness. Oboza assured Efe that he will find the person that did that to his child. He also told Ozzy, one of his men, to stay with Efe for security. On the other hand, Mrs. Ogulisi, who is an inspector, continues to see news about Efe and his family, so she wonders who they are. Back to Obuzo. Just as he head back home, Obuzo was attacked and shot at, but luckily he escaped. The next day, Efe went to see Obuzo, and on getting there, he was shocked seeing Obuzo in that state, and it was about to be a war. Obuzo told him about the person responsible for the incident. He called in Teacher. He's requesting a 30% tax from Obuzo, who isn't willing to succumb. Efe tried to negotiate with Obuzo to play things safe with Teacher, but he wasn't willing. It clearly that Obuzo was ready for war.
We negotiate with them. Whether now 1% or 0.5%. I no give up. This guy is obviously capable of doing anything. If you come money for your own share, make we divide that. Me, 20, you, 10. I say I didn't give a shit.
As they were discussing, Obuzo already has his plan running. Teacher was about going out with his grandkids. The driver took them to the tower while they wait for Teacher to join them, and as soon as the driver started the car, it blew up in flames. Meanwhile, things get heated between Efe and Obuzo, as Efe doesn't want to be part of his plan, but unfortunately, the deed was already done, as Obuzo got a notification.
Asatoka!
Nosa is seen in the hospital with her child. The doctor attended to her. Susu is healing well, but Nosa still feels sad seeing her child in such state. The doctor tried to console her. He told her his experience with his child who got hurt when he was little also. And after such story, Nosa felt a bit relieved afterwards. On the other hand, Mrs. Ogulesi was still seen as crazy back at work. The agency has been chasing the monkey case for a while now, and Mrs. Ogulesi looks quite interested in it, as the monkey is a very big illegal organization known for doing heavy cybercrime. Teacher had to stay at one of his boys' house. He looked miserable and willing to do everything to revenge his granddaughter's death. As he was speaking, his men were already making move at the hospital. The battle line was drawn.